The Chiefs went and did it. Nobody else would. And they took the chance that I think was really deserving when they signed receiver Justyn Ross today. As I'm getting ready for the live stream tonight, make sure you don't miss that here on RGR at 6 p.m. Central. Make sure you're liking this video and subbed so you get that one, and the notification bell so you find out when we start. We'll be doing our normal thing tonight, but today, as I'm recovering from the trip back from Dallas for the draft and all that promo stuff, they went and signed somebody that nobody else wanted to take a chance on. A receiver that I had a draftable grade on despite his medical situation. So I just wanted to give you guys a few minutes here about Justyn Ross and what the issue really is. And this is about controlled risk. That's why nobody else took the chance. As I understand it, there were 4 teams with Justyn Ross on their boards for the draft. Everyone else was scared off by the medicals, and I think, frankly, by the testing as well. I don't have it confirmed that the Chiefs had him on the board, but whatever it was or wasn't, they let it go and they didn't draft him. Nobody drafted him. What did happen is that they let time go by. They've talked to him a little bit, and I'm sure that as it worked out, it's one thing to make an investment in a draft pick. It's a whole other thing to sign a free agent. And as they talked, I'm sure they talk continually. There was some interest from a couple other teams, but the Chiefs are the ones who pulled the trigger. And I think it is a roll of the dice, but I think it's well worth it, because when you take a look back at this, it is something that if he can physically mature and get past the injuries, one was a congenital fusion of 2 of his vertebrae. That you can't do anything about that. That's just the way that he's built. But then there's the second surgical one that was really important, so they had to go take care of that. Then he had the foot injury. He didn't perform well with a younger, inexperienced quarterback last season. And then he didn't run well at his testing. And I have to think that the foot was part of that testing failure, if you want to call it, as well. So significant injuries. And that's why teams didn't want to take the risk. But at the UDFA level, a guy who was incredible as a freshman, if he can even get back to 80 or 90% of that, he can be a contributor on this roster. If he gets back all the way to that, he can be a starting X in this league. That's the variance of how good he can be. So it is very, very low risk and high reward to give this a shot. It certainly says it's less risk than, say, drafting Powell last year and not having him pan out. This is way less investment, and you get to actually get him in your system, develop him as well, like physically in your strength and conditioning system with your trainers. That's a big plus. Let's see. There's a couple questions. I know this is weird time to do this one, but I just wanted to get it out as I'm finishing work for the day and getting ready for tonight's recordings and things. I had him, Cole, I think I want to say, I think I had him in the 5th is where I dropped into because of the medicals. It might even be lower than that. I'll check that before we do the Q&A tonight, but definitely worth taking a chance on. And I thought even a draft chance was okay, but didn't get to the point where it happened. So this is perfect. Diving in the rough, Jason, that is absolutely right. Mike Quigley, if he had no medical problems, where would you have had him? He would have been a top 50 probably had he continued to progress. He was saddled with an inexperienced and, quite frankly, a much lower quality quarterback this last season than he was with Trevor Lawrence. So you got to work that into equation. But I do think he would have been a top 50 selection if he had continued that progression without the injuries. So that's the upside that you could have. Don't know if he's going to play a whole lot for us, but that's what a long shot is. That's exactly what it is. You don't know if it's even going to work out at all. He might make it through OTAs. He might not. It all depends on how he is physically. But it's a low investment for a huge upside win, especially when you know you need bodies at the position for the foreseeable future so you don't get stuck in a second contract kind of situation. So I think that that's great. Yeah, he would have been – Ralph thought he was a first-round pick if it wasn't medicals. I believe there were 2 other teams that were interested in signing him. I don't even know if he got another offer. I haven't been able to confirm that at all. So that's just how little interest there was or how much fear there was of the medicals. So that makes sense. Vincent, would you say that he has the potential to be the best draft UDFA period Beach has ever had? That might be pushing it, but it's in the realm. Yeah. If he can return, if he can physically get right and return to the path that he was on when he was a freshman, he certainly could. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a great camp battle. Let's see what happens in OTAs, but I'm pretty pumped for this because I'm glad to see the kid get a shot at coming back. And he looked disinterested at times last year. He looked disheartened. This might be something where he can turn it all around. So I'm crossing my fingers. We'll talk more about this tonight on the Q&A stream. If you don't know me or whatever, you're just finding this because of the news, like, sub, hit the bell, come with us. Every Monday night we do Q&A at 6 Central. So I hope you guys have a good rest of the afternoon, and I'll talk to you tonight.